Hello, my friends. This is Mike, and today is September the 8th, 2020. And, hold on for a sec. All right, I'm back. That little break right there, it's because I'm on the clock. You see, I'm working my job right here. Let me go show you. This is my box. This is my view out here. And I come and I make certain people have, they've got the right ID. And I get to do my work. I get to talk to you. And they give me a little bit of walking around money for doing this sort of stuff. So anyway, the purpose of this video is threefold, because I got three stories to tell you. I want to give an update on the Rudolf Steiner house story for those who've been following along with that. A little update on some of the leather work I've been doing, if anyone's interested in that. I like to make stuff. And then lastly, an update on the Biden, this weird Biden overlap. That's happened again. So why don't we begin with the Steiner house? So this has to do with the fact that I cleaned out a house a couple weeks ago, it wasn't a couple months ago, and it turned out to be the house of these really significant, a couple that was very significant in the anthroscopathy. I can't say the word. I don't know. It's embarrassing. I can't say it. Like the Rudolf Steiner sort of treatment. And, and I had a connection to it because they were also the founders of the Waldorf school, which my children went to. And that's all about like the invisible world stuff, and to have this sort of synchronicity. It's interesting. And that's what I do. I follow the golden threads. I point it out in the stories they tell us over the computer, through our history. I do it in my own life, and I also do it in other people's lives also, as a service. But nonetheless, so I'm telling this story, and I'm kind of I'm letting you guys follow along. So the last thing was, I was in communication with this guy who runs the contemporary version of this Lancaster County, or more so Central Pennsylvania, Steiner group, which has opened up or has continued throughout Central Pennsylvania. So he had sent out an email, and I was on the mailing list, and I wrote back. I'm like, hey, I cleaned out the house, blah, blah, blah. And I just want to hear where that would go. I'm a detective. At the end of the day, I'm a detective. And part of being a detective is you have to have, you have a general understanding of what you're looking for, but you don't know how or where it's going to be. So you go, and anytime there appears to be a lead, you go down there with an open mind, an open heart, and you're looking for stuff. So I was in communication with that gentleman, and they were having an event on Saturday night, this past Saturday night over Labor Day weekend. And he invited me and my partner Jenny and her kids to go to it. It was it began with a lecture, and then there was a potluck, and then there was going to be a bonfire. And I was like, all right, let's go see what this is. I don't know what it's going to be. So I go down there, and the lecture was interesting. I learned a few things. I found it interesting. It was a small group. It was maybe 7 or 8 people, and it was on this farm, 100-acre farm, which was originally deeded directly from William Penn. The house, called Stonehaven, was built in the 1780s. There were maybe 5 or 6 people there, and just the experience was good. And I got to meet a lot of different sort of folks, and there's a wide range of people who were there. And then after that, there was a potluck, which was nice, and then there was a bonfire, and it was a nice sized bonfire. The guy who put it on, he put together a whole bunch of brush and yard waste, probably about the size of 3 or 4 cars, and that lit on fire. So the flames were 30 feet up in the air, and it was night out, and it was cool. You go back and you look up and you see, if you've ever seen a bonfire, a pretty big bonfire, They're a powerful, enjoyable sort of thing to witness. And the whole context of the entire night, these are all spiritualists. These are people who are very, very connected and take seriously the invisible world. So I was in their space. I'm a traveler in their space, and it was fun for me to go there. And here, let me go switch this up right here. We got this. This was the group. This is a little bit about it. Where's this guy? Let's get this out of here. And this wasn't the bonfire, but the guy sent me a picture and it's like, hey, this is what our bonfire looks like. So you can see it's a pretty wild bonfire. And so in the middle of the bonfire, and at this point, I'm probably like 20 or 30 feet back, and I'm just lying on a blanket. I can see that there's a bunch of commotion going on around the fire. There are about 4 or 5 people, and I'm like, I like the action. So I get up and I walk over. I'm like, what's going on? And as soon as I got close to it, I heard the worst sound. You could hear there's a cat, and there's a cat that's meowing. And, a little something about me is I've got a real soft spot. I got a soft spot for animals. You showed me one of those, any sort of video of a human being and an interaction, a very uncommon interaction with animals, that sort of stuff always touches me. And so to hear this was really kind of upsetting. And immediately my and everyone else who had heard it, your instinct is how can I help this cat? It's obviously in distress. And when you got near this fire, it was so friggin' hot. If you'd be 5 or 6 feet near the bonfire, it was unbearable. The pain on the face, and I felt like my clothes were going to spontaneously combust. And there was this inner conflict. And meanwhile, there was this other guy, probably I would say in his 30s, who was there at the meeting as well, and he came with his wife. And if I were to guess, this seemed to be more of his wife's calling. He was interested, but he didn't seem to be quite so interested in all of the Steiner stuff as she was. He didn't have much to contribute during the conversation after the lecture. But this dude, he could walk through this pain, this heat, in a way that no one else could. And he had his face shielded. I had my face shielded. I couldn't get any closer. And he went through all of the trimmings that were on the outer edge of the bonfire, and he pulled out 3 kittens. He pulled out 3 friggin' kittens. I had a little bit of they looked like they were more emotionally traumatized. They didn't seem to be burned anywhere. So young, one of them still didn't even have its eyes open. They were little, just, wild feral cats. And so, that was the story there, right? So I quickly go home. I go home afterwards, and I start searching. I'm like, all right, that's a really interesting sort of symbol experience to have, burning cats. So I start doing some research on burning cats, and unfortunately, that used to be all the rage back in Paris and in a lot of places in Europe in the Middle Ages. It was tied to witch burnings and Inquisition and that sort of stuff, and they would burn cats. And so there was something kind of symbolic, I suppose you could say, about the saving of the cats. And then likewise, it was also very symbolic also of seeing how, each person brings a piece. Hold on for a second. I got someone coming up. Hey there. Oh, there we go. I'm going to have to still see an address to make sure that... Okay, sir. Excellent work. Okay. No bags, unfortunately. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So this is like a county government sort of job. That's what I'm getting paid by. And that was a township supervisor on their day off, dumping their yard waste, and I gave him a hard time. So where was I? So it was a reminder. So this dude who comes out, he was just kind of in the background. Like, he was a sweet guy. You could just, I don't know. If you have a good sense of people, I think I have a pretty good read on human beings. Though he was kind of like in the majority of the evening and the day, like leading up to this, he was behind the scenes, didn't have much to say, much to contribute. Like, at this moment, he was the only one who could really save the day. And to me, that was a really valuable kind of symbol also, because things are going to start changing. Things are going to start changing, particularly if you choose not to stay within the bubble that they're creating. You're either going to have to be in the bubble or you're going to not be in the bubble. If you're not going to be in the bubble, you're going to really have to start counting on people and starting to understand. Hold on. How you doing? I'm doing well. It's hard to see the face with the mask, but I'm going to trust you. You know the drill? Just dump the bags, take the bags with you. Have any? Okay, thank you. We're geographers, so we like the future. Good to see you again. Thank you. All right. And we're all going to have to go and contribute one way or the other. And being able to recognize where and when someone, including yourself, steps up is going to be a significant part of what I think, at least in the short term, lies ahead. All right, so that was story number one. So let's go to story number two. This has to do with Joe Biden. And if you've been following along for a while, this began a year ago with some Instagram posts I put on about Scranton, and I kind of talked about Joe Biden there. And then that night there was a primary debate, and he made some blunders, and his blunders matched up to what we were saying on Instagram, and it was like the same day, and like that began this thread in June, a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago. Biden made an appearance in Lancaster County, and the place where he appeared, Lancaster Rec, they need to empty out their location for the day because Biden was there, but they still had stuff to do. And of all the places in Lancaster for them to go, they came to the church in which I was house sitting, if you will. So now is the latest. So yesterday, Joe Biden makes another appearance in Lancaster County. And let's go right here. Let's switch this up. We're going to go there. We see this right here. This is friggin' wild. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm talking about. So Joe Biden visits Lancaster County on Labor Day, Monday, September 7th. And you could see Biden leaves to have a talk with the crowd after the visit to a home in Lancaster Township, blah, 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 blah. 1 of 18. So now let's go look at this picture. This is still from the same article. This is 17 of 18, and you can see these people are standing here. But the point I'm trying to make is I want you to look at this house right here. You see this house? This house is this house. Let's see if I can make this any bigger. You can go and you see like this sunroom on the left, and you can look at the way the 1, 2, 3 garage doors. You've got the 3 garage doors there. You can see the dormer window right here. The dormer window. It's evident it's the same house. Like, I know it's the same house. I'm just proving to you it's the same friggin' house. And you can see the address. This is just taken from Google Earth. And it is 1524 Quarry Lane in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I'm pointing that out because, if you can guess where I'm going with this, this is literally 1 block away from where I used to live. So prior to me just kind of like no longer being part of the system, I used to live on 590 Wilson Drive. You could go and search, all this sort of stuff. This is me, Michael Wan. He lived here in 2005. Now lives, so this will tell you how backwards. I used to live here. I moved from Arlington and to this location. I believe this is 804. That sounds like my Richmond number. That's like 10 years ago, 25 years ago. Who knows? You can see again, this is Michael Wan, 590. All right, so you could see I lived on 590 Wilson Drive. That's pretty easy to go and verify. And so there's 590 Wilson. Remember right here. 1524 Quarry Lane, 1524 Quarry Lane, and there's 590 Wilson. It's literally 1 block away. So Biden's getting closer and closer. And for those of you who remember the video when I was talking about Biden last time, I said right before he came, there was something very, very strange within Lancaster. He's got a strange connection with Lancaster. He's on record saying that he was in earshot of the, I guess it was 2005 nickel mine shootings. And then right before he showed up at Lancaster Rec, there was a very strange disappearance of an Amish girl. This is very uncommon, or at least I'm assuming it's uncommon by the amount of attention and press which it's received. And this young lady has... still has not been found. There's been no remains. There's a guy, I'm calling him a patsy, who's been picked up, who's claiming he didn't do it. And she disappeared on the summer solstice, and then 3 days later, Biden disappears. So, go and watch that video if you want to hear some more of my analysis on that. But, that's, the dude's got, his eyes are as black as coal, if there's such a thing as demonic possession, it's about, to me, would be a good indicator. So let's go switch gears now for the third story. All right, here's the latest thing I've been working on. This here's a leather bag. I made this from the leather, which I found inside Hal Williams' house. See that right there? And what I have inside it is this right here. See if we can see this. Kind of looks like a finger, doesn't it? It's a pendulum. I use pendulums as a form of concentration, a tool for developing concentration and focus. Got 3 pieces of magnetite and a quartz right there. This, I like to pretend, is a lady's finger pointing down. These 3 minerals are also in a similar pattern as the pyramids in Egypt, which are supposedly a mirror of Orion's belt. I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of the pendulums being able to go and tell you information. I know that I can control the movement of a pendulum, and even if I'm not trying to control it, if I were to ask a question, it's like, I understand how it works with the subconscious, and so, once you know how sausage is made, you can't really go back to eat it, I suppose. So I don't use it for that, but nonetheless, I think pendulums are very kind of interesting and powerful tools which we can use, and, this is one which I made, I've been using a lot of lately, and, I like to make bags for all my stuff. I think it's cool. So that there is... that there's the conclusion of this video. Maybe I think it was a little bit choppy with all the people coming in and out. But hopefully it was interesting to you. I always like talking and so telling stories. And so hopefully you got something out of it. Leave a comment if you thought you did. Also, I'm getting ready to go and do what I'm looking forward to be a really nice presentation of a lot of the work which I've been covering, the research the last couple videos, and I'm gonna be able to share that with a wider audience. And my plan is My plan is I want to start doing these things in person. Like, it's set up nowadays that a lot of the places where I used to do in-person sort of trainings and teachings that's not available. And what I'm going to be getting into is more of the old school, like maybe like traveling and doing like small teachings in people's homes, no computers, more so with like handouts, which we can talk about. So if you're in the area, Mid-Atlantic, if that sounds like the sort of thing which you'd be able to host, get in touch with me. Go to susquehannaalchemy.com. That's how you can get in touch. And we could see if maybe that's something we can make work out. I'm still figuring out how to do this in a way that it makes sense. But, that's one of the ways one of the avenues which I see opening up. So have some fun. Be kind to the people you love. Be tolerant of the people you don't. We got some really interesting stuff coming up. Talk to you soon, my friends.